Okay, and here we are, people. This is my first video on Ark, but we figured we'd start with something interesting and talk about the 9 maps that no one ever mentions. So, we've got the island, scorched earth, an aberration, which of course everyone knows. Then we've got the included 3 maps of the centre and Ragnarok. And if you look on here, I have Bronto Island, Crystal Shores, Pirate Bays, and procedural blah 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 blah. And how we do this is we go onto here, click on Create Procedural Arc, and there's the presets, favourites, and all of these options. In truth, I still haven't quite figured these out. It basically seems to be the higher number, the greater density, and different points on where in the map the different biomes start, and basically very, very confusing. If you go and have a look on Jade Plays Games, then he does actually describe somewhere where you can find this stuff out for the PC. But on here, there are presets, which we have Drake's World, Bronto Island, High Alps, Island Coves, Island Pines, Crystal Shores, Sandy Shores, many islands, redwoods, snow, and mountains. And these are the extra maps. Now, I'm going to choose one of them, which we're going to go for redwoods, and I shall actually name the map as redwood because, let's face it, you're never going to remember that long number as to what that actually stands for if you've got more than one map. When you're doing these maps, you can actually have more than one at a time, which I'll explain in a second. Now, when it's loading in, you're going to notice that it will look like it's crashed. So I've left this first bit going at normal speed, so you can actually observe this. And at first, it all looks like it's loading fine and well, just as it would do on Ragnarok, Scorched Earth, etc. But boom, now we've frozen, and you're going to think, great, my game's crashed. Close it, restart it. No, don't do that. On this, be patient and wait. Unless you blue screen, you don't quit. So, if your computer does actually crash, then that's just really bad luck for you. But otherwise, procedurally generated arcs take so long to load that they do actually freeze on the loading page. So just give it a little bit of time, and I'm only leaving this running as long as it is just to show you, but in 1 second it will kick back in, and then I'm going to skip forward, and the next bit is actually going to be 8 times faster, and that's because loading in this map for the first time actually took me about 12 minutes. Anyway then, as I was saying, you can have more than one map. I believe it was 5 maps or something you can have on here at a time. You will find that if you try and load more than one map, basically every other time or every third time normally it'll blue screen and crash your game. But once you've got your map loaded and saved and everything, you can go back onto it, and I haven't been blue screened then, although to be fair I haven't tried going that far into it. As we can see, this has taken a really, really long time, but the first time it goes through, it's got to generate the whole map, and the first time you go to Ragnarok or anything, it takes a bit of time. Not this long, granted, but it's 3 maps, it's worth a nose, so bear with it. Maybe go make yourself a cup of tea, coffee, dinner in the meantime, and give it its time, and eventually it will go through. So, as I said, for this to actually load up completely for me took about 12 minutes. So, not something you want to do if you've only got 5 minutes to play the game, of course. Anyway, we're just about coming to the end of it now, even though it says 62.6%. And that was when it loaded. And this is me jumping ahead, is the Redwood map, I suppose we're going to call it. In case we hadn't guessed. It's lots and lots of redwoods. There's a little bit of snow biome over there. There's some little lakes and pools around the place. So I'll just fly you around it quickly and give you a rough tour. I haven't been around all these maps myself. To be honest, I think I'd lose my will to live if I had to load in every single map and then go around every single map recording it and trying to find all the good points for you. Plus, it's one of the last things on Ark that you're not actually going to have been shown through step by step on every single YouTube video, so explore them yourself, have a laugh, you never know what there is. I mean, it still spawns in all the dinosaurs and such. Lead sinks, otters, spinos, everything I've found so far. Haven't found a unicorn, but once again, haven't really bothered looking around these maps that much. It was more curiosity of landmarks and landscape. So, going to go for the first bit here. As you can see, it's mostly decent. Definitely a lot of redwoods on this one, but I guess as it's called the redwoods, then that kind of explains it. So, but the point is, of course, as well, you can choose one of these and then tweak it. For instance, you could increase the amount of trees in the redwood biome or decrease them. You can increase the size of the biomes if you know what you're doing. You can decrease them. I believe you can increase the size of the map as well, but honestly on that area, not too sure. I know Jade Plays Games mentioned a bit on procedural generated arcs, I think when it was on his videos for how to set up your servers. But if you go to the right forums and such, you'll actually have full list of things that you've got to type in for the procedurally generated arcs, and then you can basically create your own map that someone else has already gone through all the hard work of figuring out. I'm not sure though if that still applies with these. I think what it is you'll have to go through that instead and adjust all the settings following it rather than typing out the massive code. But anyone wants to go and check, feel free. So jump out of that, come on to another spot because I might have gone in the water and got eaten by a piranha, but there's no proof of that now. And as we can see, it's not perfect in these sort of things. There are some gaps like this giant hole underneath a redwood, but it's different maps, it's something to do, something to see. So I'm going to get quiet for a second, put it into third person and have a quick run through and let you see the sort of layout that these are. You still got your basic rocks, your basic wood, trees, crystal, stone, dinosaurs. So I'll give it a second, have a run through and you can see what you think of it. Sucks to be that high, you know. And the answer why is 3 very angry antlers. Now one thing I have noticed is there does seem to be heavy spawns of dinosaurs in areas. Now whether that's because it's the same amount of dinosaurs would spawn as would do on a full size map like the island or the centre, but these maps are very, very small in comparison to those ones. I mean, the fact that you can actually fly up, as you saw on the screenshot to begin with, and pretty much see the entire map from one point shows you that they're really a lot smaller. But past that, I mean, they're not really that bad of quality. The blending on most of it's fairly good. There's a little bit here and there that lacks, like those trees that don't quite match up, or just the sporadic placing of some things. Oh, I've got a friend, and oh, got another one. So we should jump from here onto the next bit. And this is the map called Many Islands. This one is the one that I've looked at the most, so that's probably about 15 minutes in total. And this is the one that I actually think has some really beautiful building spots on it. And let's face it, that's all you're really going to do with these, unless you actually open up a server or something and do it as PvP. Then these maps are just pretty much here to look nice and maybe build some fancy things on. Now, if you look down in front of me there, you can see a white line going to the right behind those trees, and it will follow around. This is the one little thing, is it's not perfectly blended with the separate biomes between snow and such, but you know, free maps. If that's the problem, then so be it. Right, we've jumped on, and I just want to show you a few little places that I've found, just to give you ideas of how these things are. I myself do enjoy the tree platforms and would love to actually build myself up like a Ewok style tree base or tree city, and so I've been having a look around, and these trees in front of me here are, I believe 4 of them are the actual full-size redwoods. So when we get closer here, oh, 5. As you can see, many tree platforms in one spot. So go and have a look. Enjoy yourselves, and please stay tuned for any more vids.